talk show exploring the phenomenon of lavender marriage, and I am host Anissa.
And I'm Sabrina, your co-host. Today we have a dynamic panel to unpack the history, motivation, and contemporary relevance of lavender marriage.
Let me introduce our guest, Hilbram, a sociologist specializing in LGBT history.
Hello everyone! We'll begin with a clear definition and historical overview, then discuss personal motivation and modern examples, and finish with your question. Let's dive in.
Hilbram, could you define lavender marriage and share its origins?
Of course, lavender marriage refers to a marriage of convenience entered into counsel one or both partner, non-heterosexual orientation. The term emerged in early 20th century Hollywood, where studies and social norms strictly enforced a heterosexual public image. Between the 1920 and 1950, many actors and public figures entered this marriage to protect their career, reputation, and in some cases, legal safety.
What social pressure and this drove people into this arrangement?
Legal penalties against homosexuality include possible arrest, and the cultural stigma that could destroy careers and family were central drivers. Actors risked their losing studio contracts, and families faced social ostracism. And for instance, silent from Star Wars, William Haynes maintained a long-term partnership with his male companion only because he quietly entered a lavender marriage to satisfy studio executives.
Any other historical examples?
Yes, studios often orchestrate these unions pairing stars to create the illusion of a romantical relationship. One famous example is the rumored arrangement between Katharine Hepburn and Spencer Tracy, orchestrated to maintain box office appeal despite their different orientation and personal life.
That historical snapshot really sets the stage for understanding the delicate balance people navigate. Would you say lavender marriage was more of a personal decision or a forecast choice?
It depends on the context. Some may have voluntarily choose choose it, choose it as a way to survive and maintain dignity. Others felt completely concerned first by contract, family, or religion. Either way, the result was a significant compromise on personal freedom.
Hilbram, have you encountered modern choice of lavender marriage in creative industries?
Absolutely. While formal lavender marriage are rare today in place with legal protection, some celebrities still feel pressure to hide same-sex relationships. Early in his career, Elton John was encouraged to maintain a heterosexual public image, and rumors persist about similar arrangements for musicians like David Bowie.
What other motivation did people mention?
Um, I think family expectation and religious beliefs were key. Many feel pressure to marry heterosexually, to secure inheritance right, maintain social standing, or even avoid conflict with conservative communities. One participant shared that their cousin who lived in a conservative rural area entered a lavender marriage just to avoid being disowned. And on a psychological level, lavender marriage can lead to strife, identity conflict, and mental health challenges when the partners hide their true self. Some report feeling of isolation and depression from living a double life.
Are there any positive aspects that emerge from these arrangements?
Interestingly, yes, some lavender marriage couples develop deep bonds of companionship and mutual support, even if romance isn't their primary driver. Third, understanding and teamwork can create a strong partnership. I also read about couples who use their public image to protect each other and help younger LGBTQ plus individuals in their community behind the scenes.
That's a powerful use of solidarity. It shows that even in constraint, people can support others.
How have marriage equality and anti-discrimination laws impact the prevalence of lavender marriage?
In countries with robust legal protection for LGBTQ individuals, the, the need of lavender marriage has decreased significantly. However, in religions like seeking such right, this marriage persists a survival strategies. For example, in part of Asia and the Middle East, some LGBTQ plus individuals continue to marry heterosexually to keep family and community relationship intact.
Indonesia and similar countries?
Several intents mention Indonesia, Egypt, and other societies where cultural and religious norms make open LGBTQ plus identity difficult. In this context, lavender marriage can be seen as a pragmatic way to balance personal authenticity with social expectations.
Social media has added complexity. Would you say it helped or hurt?
Actually, both. It allows people to create a public image with, while protecting their private life, but it also increases the pressure to appear perfect, including upholding a heterosexual persona. So, even today, some influencers take folks' engagement and marriage to maintain brand image.
Do you think transparent, open marriage could fully replace lavender marriage?
Actually, no. And where the legal and cultural reform continue, transparency becomes more visible. Yet cultural inertia means some communities will lag behind legal change. Full replacement may take generations or some individual may still choose privacy over public disclosure. So that's why education and representation are the key. Langsung present.
We've covered a lot so far: history, personal stories, and modern relevance of lavender marriage. Before we move on to our final segment, let's take a short break.
During the break, reflect on what you've heard. Have you seen example of this in films, books, or even real life? We'll be back shortly to answer your question and her final reflection from our guest.
So that's it. So grab a drink, stretch a little, and we'll see you in a few minutes for the final part of our talk show.
Before we continue with your questions, let's talk a little about how lavender marriage have been represented in pop culture. Hilbram, are there any TV shows or films that explore this theme?
Yes, but just a few. So one of the more recent examples is the film Crow in 2050, which portrays a woman stuck in a traditional marriage despite her love for another woman. Well, not a lavender marriage, exactly. It shows the pressure to appear heterosexual. And another is Rocketman, a biopic of Elton John, which shows on his brief heterosexual marriage.
It's interesting how media can both expose and normalize this issue. Do you think the representation has helped reduce stigma?
Absolutely. So, after seeing these stories on screens, help people understand the emotional cost of hiding one's identity. It also encourages empathy and more open conversation.
Even shows like The Crown hint at complex personal arrangement, though they may not label them as lavender marriage. The point is media reflect society, and as we tell more truthful stories, change follows.
So next time you watch a romantic film or period drama, maybe take a moment to ask what's unsaid in those relationships. There might be more behind the smiles than meets the eye.
Now, let's take a closer look at how different countries approve lavender marriage legally and culturally. Hilbram, what can you tell us?
Well, in countries like the Netherlands and Canada, where same-sex marriage has been legal for years, lavender marriage are far less common. Legal protection make it easier for people to live authentically. But in contrast, places like Nigeria or Saudi Arabia still have strict anti-LGBTQ plus laws. In such environment, lavender marriage may be a form of protection or survival.
And Indonesia sits somewhere in the middle, right?
Yes. Well, homosexuality isn't criminalized nationwide. Social stigma and local ordinance can create hostile environment. Many people choose to marry the opposite sex to avoid pressure from family and community. Some even face forced marriage.
So legality is important, but culture can be just powerful as law.
Exactly. Even in legally free societies, cultural and religious pressure can still make people feel unsafe.
Let's explore the ethical side. Is it wrong to enter a lavender marriage if both parties agree?
Great choice, great question. And ethically, if both people are honest with each other and no one misleads, it may be considered a mutual agreement. The issues arise when someone is deceived or manipulated into it, then it crosses ethical lines.
So communication and consent are key.
Yes, and it's also about what kind of life you want to live. Means some may see it as a temporary strategy, others as a long-term plan. But people deserve the right to decide for themselves as long as they are not hurting others.
That brings up another question. How does society help or hinder that freedom?
Society often defines success through family structures and appearance. If we want to support real freedom, we need to broaden our definition of what love, success, and happiness look like.
Now, let's address a few of your questions.
The first question asks, is a lavender marriage always deceptive?
Not necessarily. While deception can occur, many lavender marriages are based on mutual agreement, with both partners aware and consenting to the arrangement for practical reasons.
Another question is, how can someone safely exit a lavender marriage?
Key steps include building a strong support network, seeking legal advice to understanding rights, and accessing counseling service to navigate emotional challenge. Gradual disclosure to trusted individuals can ease the transition.
Before we close, I'd like to hear some personal reflections. What does this topic mean to you?
I see lavender marriage as both a symptom and as a survival mechanism. It tells us how powerful society expectation can be, and my hope is for the more honest and supportive environment where people don't have to hide their truths. And for me, it's about compassion, understanding that people make difficult choices to survive. So instead of judging, we should ask how can we create a world where those hard choices are necessary.
Thank you for those powerful insight. I think what we've learned today is that Lavender Marriage are not just a historical footnote, they are a mirror reflecting our society's progress and struggles.
And thank you to our guest Hilbram for sharing your expertise with us.
And thank you to our audience for joining this important conversation on Lavender Marriage. Until next time, stay true to yourself.
And bye!